If you can master 2 ways to draw forms intuitively, you can unlock drawing powers like Kim Jung-gi. If you want to intuit more precise drawing, here is a secret. Starting with accurate lines from a grid, we compare orthos to foreshortened views and guess the proportions. Let's talk about grids. Grids can be bad and grids can be good. Here's where they're good. Grids make important invisible lines, lines that establish space in the picture, visible. Here's how they're bad. They tell artists where to go. Some artists don't like that. Some artists celebrate space that does not conform to perspective or even the observable world. Grids are, to some artists, shackles.
These are shackles!
They hate the idea.
I hate the idea!
They may misunderstand the idea.
Show me the way to life-giving water.
Go that way.
I shan't.
I'm going to explain the idea. Grids tell us where to go when we want to go there.
Which way to life-giving water?
That way.
Thank you, my servant.
We can see them as scaffoldings, useful for building or placing. Grids help us draw.
May I help you?
If grids dictate point of view, we elect them as benign dictators. Grids don't create artists. Artists create grids. I mentioned 2 methods for intuitive drawing. The opposite approach to grids is the blob approach. It's a way to get form fast, ignoring proportions, guessing directions of lines. For more on that, go to proko.com/perspective. Now, back to grids. We create grids for views we desire. Down views, up views. Simple, complex, loose, refined, compressed space or wide angle, straight or warped, safe or daring. Grids keep track of line angles while we work on other things.
You shall remind me of turns and directions to hasten my journey. I shall.
Grids structure our imagination. We're going to take an aside to show you what grids do for those who imprint them. Kim Jung-gi could fill walls with drawings like this at high speed with nothing to look at. You may wonder, how did he do it? He tells us 2 secrets. One is to know your subject's proportions. You worked on that with orthos. The other is to fit them into simple structures. Those simple structures give you clues to how much you can dare to foreshorten. We'll look at more about how Kim Jung-gi mastered freehand perspective in Premium. Now to your project. Draw form studies on grids. If you feel confident, draw them freehand. If you don't feel confident or you just need guidance, use a grid. They give you framework. Now that you know your subject's proportions, see if you can foreshorten them. Get out your orthos. You're going to use them as reference. If you haven't made orthos yet, go watch the previous lesson on drawing out of perspective. How tall? How deep? How wide? Try to envision them onto and into a pre-existing spatial structure for support. A reminder about foreshortening. Foreshortening makes a thing shorter. In an ortho, a line at its longest is just that. It can never be longer. As soon as a long line goes away or comes forward, it shortens compared to the ortho. It can shorten dramatically. It can turn into a dot. In fact, that's what it does on an ortho. 100% foreshortening happens on 90-degree orthos, but we've done that. In oblique views, a line or a plane or even a form will foreshorten a lot or a little. As you learn to draw foreshortened views, you can play safe to begin, or dare to foreshorten, or get daring gradually. However, if you play it safe, I should warn you that a point of view that looks easy on one axis will be easy on one axis, not that different from the ortho, but the easy position implies that some other part will angle away severely. And that's where we learn about how planes foreshorten. A little or a lot. It can be scary drawing a line that you know is this long, as this short. But when you do this several times, you gain courage to foreshorten until you overdo it and say, "This is a sword."
This is a sword.
It's more of an ortho. Back to the project. Here is the reason we draw from orthos: to estimate foreshortening. Grids mind the angles. You judge proportion. Don't try to measure. Guess. Some grids include measured depth that let us draw without guessing. But guessing is why we are doing this. Working with just enough uncertainty to sharpen perception and grow into good guessing. Part of the secret is keeping attention on foreshortened planes and forms, ignoring detail. All that detail conforms to the simple form to which that detail conforms. Look along each of the axes and ask, how much does this portion foreshorten? Choose something simple enough to simplify and do this much more than once. One perfect drawing where you measure everything doesn't rehearse this imprinting experience. If you are aching to make precise drawings, you'll have your day, I assure you. Keep it loose here. I, as your guidelining video teacher, recommend that you start with more drawings, understood, using the grid as a safety net for line directions. And if you enjoy this, have some fun with some deliberate distortions. You can do what you want without even veering off grid. It's a choice, what you conform to. Your chosen subject. In 3/4 views, several 3/4 views. This is to teach you to see, to notice foreshortening. Look back and forth, ortho to oblique. Ask yourself, does this look credible? Do the proportions look off? Make an intuitive guess. Axes. Proportions. Grids. To imprint in our brains.
It appears to be living.
To envision and conjure proportions into them.
I see.
Or, if you see them as shackles, take on the shackles enough to emerge, understanding, unshackled.
I have emerged unshackled.
In Premium, I'll teach you more. We'll spotlight Kim Jung-gi's explanations about how he learned to draw and prepare you for how to draw heights we imagine, which we will study in our next free lesson. And with our Zolly app, you get models we made for this. Choose any object, make it go ortho by dragging the Zolly scale all the way down. Observe and envision, reveal and revel. That's at proko.com/Zolly.